knockdown, drag out interview on there. So of course you guys will be hearing from her as well as her having an accountability call on Thursdays. But we appreciate you guys for jumping on and being with us here. We're getting a lot of great feedback on this as opposed to being on the regular call. So we got a great call or Zoom in store for you guys again, as we normally do. We got Mr. Lamar Reynolds on here going to be helping out. We've got Miss Sherranda, Ivey, and hopefully if any other trainers jump on, we'll get them in the fold here as well. So we're waiting for the date for the next training. Once we get that, we'll get it out on Facebook as well for you guys to get plugged in. And we're closing out the month. It's going to be important, guys. Got 2 days left for the end of the month, and some of these business solutions bonuses will be in them because another quarter will be in them and things like that. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Sherranda Ivey so she can introduce herself first, and then she'll turn it over to Lamar Reynolds, and we'll get going, guys. So appreciate you all. Ms. Sherranda?
Appreciate that, Dunbar. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sherranda Ivey here in Byron, Georgia. CDLP trainer for the state of Georgia. Been in the business for 7 years. Just been a trainer now. Just this year, just got to be a trainer this year. Earned my 1000 App Award, Golden App Award this year at convention. Recognized as the #1 field trainer for 2019. Earned the Ladies of Justice Award. Business Solutions Sapphire and Special Forces with small business, and just love CDLP. Started to really focus on this about 2 years ago, became a student of the industry, had great mentors like Lamar and Dunbar, Chris Seeley, and all the guys here, and just studied the industry, and just found that I really loved it, and still love it. Really had to do business different now, but we adapt. So, but I'm excited. I'm still excited about CDLP, and glad that I can be on the call tonight. I'll talk a little bit later. We do have the accountability call on Thursday nights. Dunbar, I don't know, we got a big corporate event on Thursday night, so I'll have to look at that for Thursday night. Corporate is doing about a 2 or 3 hour special announcement. So we might have to switch that up a little bit. I have to talk to you on that and what you think about that. But anywho, if you're already signed up for the accountability call, just look for a correspondence. Probably either not have it this week or we'll do it another day. So just look in your email for that, and we'll go from there. But just glad to be on the call tonight. We had a great CDLP training. I did my decision maker presentation, and I got interviewed on that call. So I hope it helps somebody. And so back over to you, Dunbar. Over to Lamar.
Okay. Thank you, Sherranda. Yeah, Thursday night from 6 to 9 is the announcement and recognition. So the company, this is going to be a company-wide recognition. So if you qualify for any recognition, monies, business solutions, all of that stuff, they're going to be announcing and recognizing people. So that's going to be so just so you know, Sherranda, from 6, this is Central Time, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. So also, this is Lamar Reynolds from Houston, Texas. I'm a CDLP trainer in South Texas. I've been selling the CDLP membership for 11 years. I've been a trainer for about 10, and I've been with Legal Shield for 14 years. And I've been able to get the 50,000K ring and also the 100,000K ring by selling the CDLP membership. And I'm doing a lot of double memberships, as we call them, the CDLP and the legal plan. I just in the first quarter went over the 5,000 memberships sold in the first quarter. So accomplished that. And then the Special Forces, I'm part of the Special Forces and the Solution Emerald Elite. So it's just a great honor to be on the call here tonight to share information with everyone. So we got some great information for everybody tonight. So have your pad and pencil ready to go. Back over to you, Mr. Robert.
All right. Well, good stuff. Appreciate you guys. I'm a 100K ring earner. Been a trainer for, I think, I don't know, 2 years, 3 years. I lost track at this point. I was training with Legal Shield for years before that as a regional manager as well. I work all sides of the business. So I've got 2 ring earners on my team. I do team building. I do business solutions. I work my business in different seasons. So really, guys, it's really about what's happening at that point in my business. You know, during this time of the year, I'm normally doing benefits. During the beginning of the year, I'm normally doing more recruiting. So, you know, it all depends on what's happening in Legal Shield, what I'm doing with my Legal Shield business. But I definitely love the company, love that I can work 4 or 5 streams of income right here in this one business. And one of my passions is training, which is why I own a training company. So I really do enjoy doing these Zoom presentations, training people, helping people get better in the field at offering this product, at opening up CDLP groups and things of that nature. So again, we're always excited to be on here with you all and working with you all. We're going to start today's session off with an interview or a testimonial by Mr. Arjun Joshi. For those that's been around for any amount of time, you've heard him on here more than once before. But this is really a follow-up testimonial about a group that he was opening up with about 900 drivers a few months ago. He was on here doing a testimony about that. But now we're following up and talking a little bit more about and looking where the progress is at, because we want people to follow people through a deal, especially when it's a deal that big. 900 drivers is a big deal. That's a big deal, guys. So when you're talking about somebody go out and open up a company with 900 drivers, it just adds on to the belief of knowing that we can get these things done if we go out and do it. And it's not like Arjun Joshi was like the master CDLP guy before he did that. Like, you know, he wasn't the guy out here that was like selling all the plans all over the place, but it was about hard work and going out and talking and making those, knocking on those doors and making it happen based on the information that he received in training and here. And he was still working even when he was missing this call because he was working. So he was working and missing the call, and he was still out there working the business because he was plugging in whatever he could, listening to recordings and getting on the CDLP Facebook page. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Arjun Joshi. I know him and his wife worked the business together, but I believe he's doing this testimonial by himself. So I'm gonna turn it over to you, brother, so you can go ahead and let us know, give us a little bit about your background and talk a little bit about what you got going on here.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, basically what I want to start with, Mr. Robert, is that, you know, this account, you know, when I started Legal Shield and when I heard people opening up this big groups and stuff like that, you know, I thought it was instant, you know, like they walked in and they got the deal. I realized that those big accounts do take time. So whoever is like a new people on the call, just to let you know that it took me 2 years to get into this call, into this company. And so the way I did it was by really participating in these trainings and listening to the trainers and how they talk to the truck drivers or truck owners or the trucking companies. And I followed that. That's what I followed. And basically, you know, I went and knocked on doors and use the same scripts and find out their needs. And that's how I landed this account, because there was a need. The safety coordinator that does the tickets, the driver calling about their citations, you know, with this big company, you know, the safety coordinator was very overwhelmed and needed help. And that's how the safety director said, okay, you know, the safety coordinator who does the tickets, they need the help with these tickets, because, you know, drivers are turning around and asking the safety coordinator where they can get help with their tickets. And I came along and basically got in, but the way I got in was basically by the drivers paying for the Legal Shield membership on their own. So basically, the safety coordinator would give, basically get the information and send it to me, and I call the drivers and present them and get them on the plan. But the challenge was that I didn't get all the drivers because most of the drivers wanted payroll deduct, because most drivers, sometimes they don't have the funds, they don't have the credit card, or some kind of a situation. They want, to get it out of their pay. And I couldn't get in with the payroll deduct. So, I had to get enough drivers on the books and help them out and show them that Legal Shield does work, and it works for the drivers, and it works for the company because of the CSA points. So what I did was I did a customer appreciation lunch for the safety department, and I asked the safety director to have the owner there for the luncheon because I want to appreciate their business. And so the safety director said he'll invite the owner. And then not only that, but I called into the company and I talked to the owner and invited them for lunch, because I said, hey, you are one of my top customers and I want to appreciate all the business. And so I met the owner at the luncheon, and we basically discussed about the payroll deduct and the possibility of payroll deduct for the drivers. And so I had a follow-up meeting today for lunch. And I went there and we spent about 45 minutes to an hour just discussing how Legal Shield will help their drivers and the logistics of it. So folks, it's 900 drivers. They have 3 locations. So basically, here are the challenges that I learned today. Number one challenge that I had to face was to overcome the objection about payroll deduct because they have the high turnover of drivers. At that big of a company, they have about they in their orientation today, they had about 50 drivers in 3 different locations. Total 50 for 3 locations. So my question was that they asked me that, my payroll will be so busy just with Legal Shield for people coming in and going out. How are we going to handle that? Because they don't like that. So my simple answer to that is that we have a very simple process for payroll, and it's very easy to manage. So that was my first overcome objection that I told them. I said, okay, it's very, very simple. I kept it very simple. The second thing they asked is that how are our attorneys reliable? If they're going to show up to court, are they going to show up to court? How are you guys going to deal with that? And I said, hey, I sold them on the years of business that we're in, that Legal Shield has been in business for over 40 years. We have a provider network of attorneys that are ready to help the drivers. And the last thing they asked, and I'm so glad, Mr. Lamar, that you suggested that I go look at TVC and the differences, and I made the list, because that was the third question, is that how are you better than TBC? And I knew my answers. I was prepared, and I went in, and the owner was satisfied with my answers for the objections, and he says, okay, let's go ahead and start enrolling people from this Thursday for the 3 locations. And I had the trainer there that does the orientation, and I'm working with him and with the safety department. Now I'm part of the company. So basically now the owners are trusting me to help their drivers and help their companies to bring down the CSA points, and making sure, now we're building that relationship. The other thing is that I had relationship built with the safety coordinator. So she was in the meeting, so she backed me up in front of the owners. And she said, I'm the guy who can really help those drivers and help them with the tickets and DOT violations. And so that was the credibility that we had, because I had the safety coordinator on my side. So with those big companies, yes, you got to build the relationships. You got to build that up, and you got to do the trainings, and you really have to ask for help when you need to have help. So then the trainers can help you with these accounts, you know. So that's part of my testimonial there, Mr. Roberts. Back to you if you have any questions.
Yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open it up for the trainers to see if Sherranda and Lamar have anything they want to ask you about the testimony, about the scenario. Sherranda, Lamar.
Sherranda, if you have something, I'll let you go first. Okay. It's AJ, right?
Yes.
Okay, AJ, congratulations. This is going to be a great opportunity for you. And congratulations on the TVC, man. That it, you know, you do your homework on that, and it had all the bullet points on the website that you could print off. And I'm telling you, I ask people when I'm doing a presentation, if there's 50 drivers there, how many of you guys on TVC? I get them to raise their hand and say, how long have you been with TVC? 5 years. Okay. Well, the amount of money you paid on TVC for 5 years, you could be in my program for 10, you know, so they see the costs there. And plus just about everybody that's got TVC is really not happy with them when it comes down to it. So we got a much better program there. The only thing that a couple little nuggets for you. Okay. Now you're doing payroll deduct, right?
Yes.
Do you have bank draft set up as well?
Yes, we have both. So the owner is like, we should have both, just in case if they want to pay themselves. I would rather have them pay themselves first. But if they have a financial issue that they can pay for it, then yes, we can put them on the payroll.
Well, I'm just going to tell you a quick story. I had a trucking company here in Houston with 350 drivers, and I first had a payroll deduct, and the turnover, and this was a container company, and the turnover was so great that the payroll deduct lady that did the payroll, she created an issue for me. She came to me and told me, says, hey, I'm letting you know, I'm gonna complain back to the owner because this is starting to be too big a job for me. So AJ, I just encourage you to really keep your ear to the ground with whoever that lady is in accounting, because you're looking at 900 drivers. And if the turnover of those drivers start to get so great, the answer is bank draft.
Right.
And I had to convert this group to bank draft that I was just telling you about to keep it, because it just started to be such a big deal for that lady. And then that's what, and that was in my early going, that was one of my first groups that I had because it was given to me as a conservation. And that's what turned me on to bank draft. And so from that point on, probably 80 to 90% of all of my trucking companies are bank draft.
Yes.
And we don't have that issue with this lady in accounting just being overwhelmed. You know, well, this guy, you know, I had 50 that quit in the middle of the month, and trying to keep up. Well, okay, how much do I charge? And it started just to be a big deal for her. So the bank draft really was the answer for me, because the guys, if they quit, AJ, they took the membership with them, brother.
With them.
Woo-hoo. That was a good thing. They took the membership with them. And I was plugged into the new driver orientation class, selling the new drivers coming in. So the other thing that I'm going to encourage you to do, because this is a company that had 50 drivers in the new driver orientation class, brother.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you another quick story. I have a company here in Houston that has 300 drivers. I'm on the new driver orientation class. It took me a year. And this lady made it mandatory. The new drivers coming into the program, they had to enroll in my program. It was part of the hiring package. Over a period of 12 months, what do you think was the percentage of drivers that now is in Legal Shield It was 300 drivers originally, and me just selling the new drivers coming in. How much of that driver force do you think I converted?
Almost 60%.
I converted 1/3.
Wow,
So
1/3.
think of it this way. By me just being on the new driver orientation class, I sold 33% of the drivers. Now, I stay in that for another year, I'm going to have 66% of those drivers. So 1/3 of 900 drivers, brother, is 300 drivers.
Yes.
So if you can get the ownership of this company to say, okay, I can see where this is going to really influence my safety stats and influence my insurance rates. Ask them if they would make it mandatory and make it part of the hiring package that the new drivers that coming through the new driver orientation class, that they have to enroll. And if they agree, AJ, man, you're going to be the man of the hour. You're going to be looking at 300 memberships right there the first year, a minimum of 300.
Yeah.
So there you go. That right there could be a big, big deal for you in terms of selling memberships. Let's see what else. Was the TVC, the new driver orientation class. I think that's it. But congratulations! It sounds like you have won this company over, and now you're in the driver's seat. And so what I do, AJ, I'm gonna leave you with this thought. What I try to do in my trucking companies, on all of my trucking companies, the new driver orientation class, I try to make it mandatory, a part of the hiring package that they have to enroll in Legal Shield. Number 2, if a driver gets a DOT ticket or moving violation and he's not in my program, then the safety director will tell you need to get a hold of Mr. Reynolds and you need to enroll in this program. We want to make sure we're doing everything to adjudicate this ticket, to remove the points off of your CDL and off the company's record. So I have 2 things working, the new driver orientation class, and any driver that gets a ticket, if they do not have a program, not enrolled in a program, they have to enroll in my program. Okay. So I'll leave you with that thought. Now you probably don't want to throw all of that onto this company at one time, but I think once you kind of get plugged into the new driver orientation class, I think I would push back and have another conversation about making that mandatory in the hiring package. And if they will just do that one thing, AJ, that within a period of a year, they will start to see their safety stat scores come down just on that one thing. So that's going to be a lot of memberships for you if they'll make that one decision. And it's going to be some much lower insurance rates for that company. So, man, I wished I was in that driver's seat, because that is some big bucks there that you're going to make selling the CDLP membership. Congratulations to you.
Yes, thank you. So not only that, but the guy is so known in the industry, in the area. He referred me to 3 other companies with almost 50 to 60 drivers.
Yes, sir. And that's what I tell people on this call. If you can ever land one good trucking company, it might be a trucking company of 100, 150, 300 drivers. If you can just get you one trucking company, that one trucking company, AJ, is going to send you to so many groups. And it's so easy when they refer you to the new group. It's so easy to walk in there. You walk in with such confidence, because you can say, my safety director at this ABC trucking company referred me to you. And I experienced that same thing. And these referrals will say, well, sit down, Mr. Reynolds. I want to hear what you got to say, because if they referred you, you must have something really important. So I'm interested in what you got to tell me. And I started opening, this is no kidding, I've opened over 100 trucking companies over that period of time. But at one time when I was really growing, about where you are right now, I was opening one trucking company a week. On an average, every week I was opening a trucking company, and most all of these trucking companies come from the referral of this one big company. So man,
Absolutely.
you're in the catbird seat right now.
Wow.
Yes,
is-
absolutely.
I have a question for AJ. This is Pat Herberger. You mentioned, congratulations, by the way, you mentioned
Thanks.
that we have a simple process for payroll. What did you tell them was our simple process?
So basically, LS at work. That's what I told them, that it's we have an easy system that Legal Shield will set up, that LS at work, so we can enroll people and take them off. And I said, you don't have to, you don't have to. You don't have to do anything, but just click of a button and you can remove an employee or add an employee. But I said, but if that becomes a challenge, we already have the bank draft in place, which we're going to push the bank draft first. But if the driver says, okay, I cannot afford, I need it on payroll, then that's an exception that we can put them on payroll.
Okay, I thought you were maybe gonna say that they could do self-bill, which means all the payroll person has to do at the end of the month is run a register of everybody who had a Legal Shield deduction and what the amount was, and just write a check for that amount and send it in, and then let Legal Shield do the reconciliation. That's what I thought you were gonna say. So,
Yeah, but unfortunately, they I didn't want to take that route because they wanted to hear something simple. And so, because I didn't want to create another question, what they were going to ask me. So I left that behind just because the owner was already there, and I just wanted to make sure this comes a positive result. Then them telling me, okay, well, hold on, we got to wait and talk to the payroll person, because the payroll person wasn't there in the meeting. So I wanted,
you might want to talk to the payroll person just in case.
right, and I don't want to slow down the process. And they say, okay, we cannot let you in on the enrollment next Thursday, and wait until this payroll person comes in. Then I have to resell them the whole program again.
Yeah.
So I would take what I have on the table and run.
Okay. I actually almost lost a group because of the payroll person, because the boss of the payroll person agreed to payroll deduction. But then when I gave the boss all the payroll slips and the boss took them to the payroll person, she refused to do it. She said, this is too much work. I got enough work. I don't want to do this. They gave them all back to me and said, okay, you either have to switch them to bank draft or we're not doing this. And I had to call everybody up. And at the
Yeah,
time, they were willing to switch to bank draft, but it wasn't easy. Yeah, so payroll's
yeah,
important. Yeah.
that's the reason why I had consulted with Mr. Robert when the beginning, when I was working with this group, and he really emphasized the bank draft. So I went with the bank draft, and his bank draft is already set up.
That's good.
The payroll deduct is for the other employees, as like the billers and the safety people that are not the drivers. Besides the drivers, they have the employees. So I wanted to set up the employee deduction, the payroll deduction for the employees, for the regular
Okay.
family and identity theft.
I get it. Okay, so the drivers are not payroll deduction. Okay.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Robert, AJ, you mentioned they have 3 locations.
Yes.
Do you have access to all 3?
Yes.
Is it local?
No. I have one here in California. The other is Phoenix, and the other one is in Rancho Cucamonga.
Okay. So do they do the new driver orientation class the same day in all 3 locations?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
They do 2 a week. They do a 2 a week. One is for paperwork. The other one is their dispatch, their ELD training, which the trainer, the guy who does the training, the head trainer, he told me Thursdays is the best day to come, because I'll get, instead of getting 10 minutes, he's going to give me 20 minutes to do the presentation.
Do you have an opportunity to maybe go live on a live presentation that they can beam your presentation to all the other 2 locations, like
Yes.
a Zoom?
Yes, that's what we're going to plan to do. Yes.
Okay, so that's what I would highly suggest you do. To get on stage at the corporate office, do your presentation. It's live to whoever's there in front of you, and it goes to the other 2 locations. The other thing that I was going to talk about tonight, but I'm just going to speed it up real quick because on the group scoop, they were talking about the enrollment link. Okay, so we have a lot of companies that we build enrollment links for at that group. They can click on the link and enroll. But this week, they announced a quick checkout link, which means the company, if they have an enrollment link already there, they can do a quick checkout link. So you can be in this location, be live, all 3 locations, and do your presentation, but you can make available, AJ, this little link that drivers in Phoenix can just, on their cell phone, brother, they can put that link in and hit submit, and that opens up, and they can enroll into your program right there on their phone.
Wow.
You need to check that out. This is
Okay.
a new thing the company is just coming out with. And for your group, that would be excellent. And I
Okay.
hope everybody on this call is listening to this, because this is where you can reach the spaces and places. And in today's technology, you can be on the Zoom, you can present at all 3 locations at the same time, if that's possible, and that'll fit into their program. That would be the way to do it. And then all you got to do is call up the solutions, and they will build this. And you might want to write that down: quick checkout link. And all it is just a little link. And I believe it's businesssolutions.com/ and the name of the company. And anybody on a computer or their cell phone can click on that link, and it takes them right into the application, AJ, with your product mix that you've made available to that account. So they can choose the basic CDLP, the legal plan, and the ID Shield, whatever you've put into the product mix, they can enroll right there. You don't have to do a paper app. They can enroll right there on the quick link. So that's going to be awesome for you. You need to really check that out.
Yes, sir. I will.
All right. Sherranda, I'll turn it to you if you got some questions and comments.
No, that was just good. Yeah, that was good. That fell right in place. You know, even with the website, for the drivers that he can't even, get to at that time, because corporate will build the website for you and that quick link for that group. And, as a new group, it's going to take about 72 hours like normal to do the website. But like he said, for the people that going to hear your presentation, they don't need to see the whole website. They just need to check out. But maybe it's some drivers that you can't get to, and they might just want to see a little bit of information because they didn't hear you. You have the website too. So yeah, so that's some good stuff.
Yeah, it's just like local, Sherranda, while he's doing the presentation live right there in front of his group in California, they can do the paper apps if he wanted to do the paper apps. The ones in Phoenix and the other location, all they need is the quick checkout link. Boom.
Right.
They're signed up. They don't have to fool with any paperwork.
Right. And how many in this company?
900.
Yeah, and they probably got a website or something for their drivers that they sign into. You can get Legal Shield to put. You can either get that quick check link or that a website link to put on their site for you as well, and it's just for that company. So yeah, that's major. Absolutely.
Last month they had 150 drivers in the orientation. Last month alone.
Yeah, that's good. That's good right there.
It's
Brother, that's where the money is. You need to tap into that opportunity.
Yeah, you need to call corporate in the morning because they'll go. Well, I mean, even if you do, you've done the group authorization form, but you got it on thing. You could just call corporate in the morning and tell them. Okay. And that quick checkout link will be ready by 3. If you do it by 3, you'll get it back the same day. The website might take about 72 hours. But if
Okay.
you call before 3, they'll get you that checkout link back.
Checkout link. Okay.
That's good stuff. I mean, that I don't really have anything, Lamar. I know you was talking about, you wanted to talk about, explain to them more about that. But good stuff, AJ.
And something else, Lamar, too, while you're on that subject, because I wanted to bring up something that our June said, AJ said while you were just talking. What he brought up, but it's something that you spoke about before, where he said that he's using the payroll for other employees. You've trained on that on this call, talking about opening up a bank draft group, but then going back to that company for the other employees and setting them up on payroll, because they're not truck drivers and they're not going to turn over like truck drivers. So AJ mentioned that briefly in this conversation, but you want to talk a little bit about that for those who missed that. He may have got that idea from you. I'm not even sure, but it is something that he did in a group like that.
Yeah, the most all trucking companies, and this is a big company with 900 drivers, and they got a big office staff. I mean, they may have 50 to 60, maybe even more than that, office staff. And
150.
How many?
150.
Oh, there you go, brother. And I can tell you right now, they do an open enrollment. That's the next thing you need to check out. When do you do an open enrollment for the office staff? And that's probably coming up. It's probably coming up in probably November or December. And guess what? In my trucking companies, I'm on stage doing the legal plan and ID shield. And that I set up, like Robert's saying, a lot of times I have a double account. I have a payroll deduct and a bank draft. And the payroll deduct is for the office staff. And the bank draft is for those drivers. And sometimes a company, depending on the type of company, they will have what they call company drivers and owner operators. And sometimes they will want to put the company drivers in the payroll deduct. And so that's what I would suggest: office staff and company drivers. The owner operators, that's probably where you're going to find a lot of turnover. That probably needs to be the bank draft. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'll just go through it again. And for you, the big money is in the new driver orientation, because, I mean, you're talking about 50 plus people a week in the new driver orientation class. Oh my gosh, they've got a pretty good churn in that company. We want these guys in the program. If they leave, they're taking that membership with them, and you're selling the new drivers. You will never run out of drivers to sell at this company. It's one of the most beautiful things. Other people at Legal Shield do not understand how this works, the dynamics of it, because probably in that 900, you're probably going to have close to 300 drivers that's going to leave that company and go into another company. And we want them leaving with a basic CDLP membership for Legal Shield. Okay?
Absolutely.
And we're going to be selling the new ones coming in. And then, the office staff, they're going to be on the payroll deduct. And maybe the company, do they have company drivers as well?
Yes, they do.
Well, what is the percentage there in that fleet?
I think they have over, the last number they gave me was about 200.
Okay, so that maybe could work. The office staff and 200 drivers, and the other 700 drivers may be on the bank draft.
Right.
Yeah, because we don't want little Susie to blow up on you with just doing so much, Legal Shield at work, and it's consuming all of her time. Okay.
Absolutely.
You can probably manage the office staff and the company drivers.
Right.
Yeah.
And they also allowed me to have a open enrollment tent in their yard.
There you go.
Where they can actually email drivers on Highway 5, because they're on Highway 5, I-5. So every truck that they have of that company going on that highway, they will send a message to them that, hey, come by the yard. There is Legal Shield on the yard. and have talked to them about the membership.
Oh man, you just need to get that presentation down to where it's good and crisp, to the
Yes.
point, and just sell a lot of memberships there. I mean, this group of 900 drivers is like having 20 accounts all in one, and that is a blessing. That's a blessing from God. One account, like instead of going out and open 20 or 30 transportation accounts, you got one. So you're going to be spending a lot of time at this trucking company, and we just want to do it very fruitful and making sure everything is working together. So new driver orientation class, open enrollment, you want those two for sure. You want to know where the driver's lounge is, because I sell a lot of memberships in companies like this in the driver's lounge. All right. And then when they do have a company-wide safety meeting, and that's usually in getting towards the end of the year, they have one big meeting, a mandatory meeting. You want to be on that meeting.
Yes, sir. I will be. They already put me in.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, man, I tell you, this is exciting. I'm just so happy for you, AJ.
It is. It is exciting. It is. Thank
We'll
you.
be going calling you Mr. AJ next year when we see all the memberships coming in.
Hey, Lamar, somebody Pat put in the chat box. She said Lamar Reynolds is drooling over this group being that
I
big.
am, brother. I am.
I love big groups like that. That is too funny. Good stuff. Hey, Sherranda Ivey got a surprise for us. So Sherranda Ivey did her decision maker appointment on the certification training this past weekend. So I've been bully texting her in the background while the training is going on tonight, asking her to do it tonight on this call. So for those who missed the CDLP certification, Sherranda Ivey is gonna do her DM appointment on this Zoom. See, you can bully text. We didn't even go to the same school or nothing. Good stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and mute myself so she can unmute.
Robert, you're still on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sherranda.
Man, you know you can't just drop stuff on me like that, man.
I told him I was text bullying you in the background while Lamar was talking.
Alrighty.
Woo! She getting ready over there. She getting ready.
Yeah, because I had to write it out. Because I'm not the same all the time. So let me see.
I ain't the same never, ever.
I know, and so they asked me, Alan asked me, and so I had to come up with something because I'm never the same. So
that's good. So even the people who was on the certification training about to get a different presentation.
No, because I did type. I have a thing and I typed. It came out. I got it.
You typed it up. I just say whatever comes to mind. I just try to keep it within the scope
Look
of that.
Lamar looking like, what is fixing to happen right now?
Good stuff.
So they asked me to do my presentation on Saturday, and honestly, guys, I really don't. When we do decision maker meetings, it's never the same because I ask a lot of questions. It's a conversation, and so it's never the same. So I see my accountability people looking at me like, okay, let's go. So anyway, so the thing was, so Alan was my decision maker, and I am gonna read it, guys, because I really don't. It's never the same, and I didn't ask all the questions, so my accountability people know that I have about 41 questions that I make into a conversation, right? But, you know, it's really just conversation, and I ask the questions in a conversation type thing. And then when I go to present the value proposition of what we can do, that's when our services and all that comes out. So anyway, I'm doing 12 questions, but here we go, because this is decision maker. So Alan was my decision maker. So good morning, Mr. Roman. Thank you for having me today to come in and share our program on how our plan can help your drivers and your company. Again, I'm Sherranda Ivey, the commercial legal representative for my company, Legal Shield. We have a commercial legal division, and I'm the representative here in the area, assisting other trucking companies like yours. If you don't mind, I would like to ask you a few questions so I can cover the plan to best fit your needs. So how long you been in business, sir? And so Alan didn't answer, he just nodded. So, and I'm talking as if he answered. So how long you been in the business, sir? Awesome. Do you have a CDL yourself? Okay. Well, how long have you been driving? Awesome. Do you still drive now, even though you're the owner of the company? Okay, I understand. Do you have any other locations besides this one? How many drivers do you have? Are the drivers company drivers or owner operators? Are they over the road, regional, or local? Oh, okay. I know you say you have 11 drivers. Have they been with you a long time, or do you have a high turnover? Do you offer any other benefits for your drivers? Do you have any drivers that seem to be worse than others? How do you handle your citations now? Is the driver responsible for any of that cost? Well, thank you, sir, for answering those questions for me. Okay, so about our services, we have motor carrier companies like yours. So after 10 days of your driver starting our plan, we have services to help fight those DOT violations and reduce CSA scores in their commercial vehicles and fight tickets in their personal vehicles or on a motorcycle, a boat, or ATV as well. because that affects your authority as well. How do we do that? Well, we have a dedicated law firm in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which your drivers are able to call into and get help. We make it convenient for them. By doing that, your drivers can use our mobile app to upload their citations and documents. Then one of our experienced transportation attorneys will connect with your driver. We make it very convenient for them, sir. We have a partner in law firms in the lower 48s. So since they're over the road and regional drivers, it doesn't matter which state they're in, we'll be able to assist them. So therefore, Mr. Roman, what that does for your driver is help him stay on the road and not lose pay and time. Plus, it also keeps your loads to continue to run because you don't have to take that driver off the road, saving your company and the driver money. Again, making it convenient for your driver, sir. So we fight non-moving and moving violations for your drivers, helping keep CSA points down when applicable. You know, sir, that if we get a positive outcome in court for your driver, then you and your driver can data queue that off your driver's record. It would change on your motor carrier safety report as well. It helps you the company because it helps decrease insurance rates and keep you getting the best pricing for your loads with your vendors as well. That's what we do. We help fight those violations and reduce those CSA scores when applicable by helping to keep them employable and insurable. We have other coverage as well, sir, by giving him CSA consultation and covering him in tragic accidents, all his legal fees if no alcohol or drugs are involved, license, insurance, and registration is good. We'll cover his tragic accident for him if ever he's named in that lawsuit. That could be a matter of him losing everything when you agree, trying to defend himself or going to jail. We have coverage with license reinstatement as well. And what we really try hard to do with your drivers is to keep them employable and insurable while keeping them focused, productive, and reducing absenteeism. For a driver, Mr. Roman, that per week, that is about $6.91. By you allowing us to speak with your drivers, we save that driver about $61 a year, which is about 2 months free. Also, we have personal coverage, sir, for your drivers that may affect their license as well, like child support. A lot of drivers have problems with garnishments, or maybe they just have a spouse at home that they would like to have some added coverage for. If you allow us to talk to them about that coverage would run them about $5.34 a week. When we speak with your drivers, we definitely can share that with them because, again, that will keep them focused on the road. We also have discounts for your drivers, saving them money on and off the road. They may want to stay in hotels versus staying in a truck, and we can save them money. We partner with 450 vendors to give them discounts, like on cell phone, groceries, auto parts, eyeglasses. Since you say you don't have any other benefits, we have perks that will help them with health and wellness benefits as well. And so our next step is sharing this with your drivers. We have some companies that cover this for their drivers, sir. And then we have companies that allow their drivers to pay for it themselves. What would be best for you? So when is your next safety meeting? Okay, I understand. Since they're over the road, we can schedule a conference call that they dial into with one number and listen to the coverage, and we can have a personal link that will give them access to receive the discounts and pay how you have suggested. Thanks, Mr. Roman, and I look forward to working with you and your drivers. So the next step is to go ahead and get that paperwork signed so we can put this in place for your drivers. That's it.
Sherranda,
Wood.
you're asking all of the wrong questions. You're supposed to be like, are you black or white? Are you Muslim or Christian? Are you Democrat or Republican? Are you gay or straight?
Well, I asked those
They
questions.
can throw you out of there.
I asked those questions because I do a lot of cross-selling. So I actually start with the small business plan. That's in my mind. I'm thinking about the small business plan.
Right.
And I go around the wheel of opportunity, and I ask about all that other stuff because I lead with the small business plan for the owner, and then the CDLP and family plan for the drivers, and then any other supplements. So that's where my questions come in at. So I'm
that's good. But doesn't it give you control though? Don't you feel like you controlling the appointment when you ask all those questions like that too?
Absolutely, because all they want to know is what you got. What you got. And I don't think that's appropriate. I don't want to just say stuff, whereas that goes back to searching the company. I don't want to say the generic stuff and they say, well, that's not my deal. That's not my company. That doesn't happen to me. I don't have those problems. So everything that I bring up because of what he told me, so.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Great presentation. Sharon Holiday says 6 minutes flat. Good stuff. Good stuff. Lamar, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I'll just say, when you're asking questions, you're really selling. And if not, you're just telling a story. You're just showing up and blah, 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 just rattling it off. So you ask questions to learn. You ask questions to really sell that company. So I think that was well done, Sherranda. I really do. I think asking questions is really the key to finding out that company's deepest needs and what's going on. So you were really probing all of the good areas that you needed to find out information on in order to sell them. So I think it was well done, Sherranda. Very good.
Yeah,
Lamar, go ahead, Sherranda. Go ahead.
Yeah, like I said, I have more questions because on the small business plan, I asked, does he have a factoring company? Lamar would know what that is. For debt collection. If he has a factoring company, he's probably not worried about debt collection. So when I try to sell the business plan, I don't really talk about debt collection because I know he has a factoring company that takes care of that for him. He gets paid from the factoring company. But And I learned that by asking questions, because I used to just ask about, do you have debt collection? And they're like, oh, no, I don't have no debt collection. I have a factoring company. And so then I had probably asked Lamar what was a factoring company. But, you know, I found out it was a third party billing. So the factoring company is who gets the money from the vendor, and the factoring company pays the company, the small company. So he doesn't really worry about debt collection, because the factoring company is paying him. The factoring company is who has to pay for debt, has to get the money from the vendor. But a problem when it comes to that with the company, the small company and the factoring company, now the small company has to hope that the factoring company doesn't go bankrupt or leave and he don't get his money. And you see that a lot in those smaller companies, where the factoring company will file bankruptcy, or they just go ghost, and then the small company is out of money. So again, if he go, you know, with issues with the factoring company, they can use our small business plan, because again, they are a vendor. You know what I'm saying? It's a problem with the vendor. So, but I learned that by asking the questions. I didn't know that until I asked the questions. So, yeah. So, and I asked about other benefits, because if you go through our perks, you'll see that we got a lot of drivers wear glasses or reading glasses, or, you know, stuff like that. You got the health and wellness things where, you know, they can get some benefits for health and wellness in there. You know, you hear them talk about they get tired of sleeping in their cab and they want to get in a hotel. You know, if they got to stay somewhere, we got the hotel discounts. So I try to pull out the discounts that would be something that they want. I don't talk about travel and all that. Maybe they do that, but I'm trying to save them money while they're on the road, you know, so.
That's excellent. That's excellent. So what we'll do, Lamar, as well, is every week for the next 2 weeks, like if you want to next week, you can do your decision maker appointment, or I can do mine. And then the week after that, one of us could do it again. So they'll get each one of ours at the end every week, and they'll hear the 3 different DMs. If any of our other trainers jump on, we can have them do theirs too. Chris Seelig or John Hoffman, whoever else may jump on. So we can do that as well. Absolutely. No, that's great. That's fantastic. And Sherranda, you're right. I had 2 of my companies had factoring companies go out of business and leave them stuck. So it's definitely something that's happening out there. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. It's happening. So guys, appreciate you all again for being on with us for another night. This platform seems to be working out very well as far as engaging and things of that nature. So we're going to definitely keep this going. You guys will be getting your email out on this, and this training it's probably going to take me to tomorrow, because it's now that it's live on YouTube, all I do is cut out the beginning and then it's good to go. So it's probably on YouTube now, so you can look at whatever you missed now, but I will pull it at some point to edit the front and then put it back up there. So thanks a lot, Sherranda, for your DM. Thank you, Lamar, as usual, for your training. Our John, Mr. AJ, thank you for your testimonial. And thank you guys all for being on, sticking with us for 10, 11 extra minutes. So we appreciate you all. Remember, Sherranda let you guys know about what she's doing on Thursday for the accountability call because of the other announcements. CDLP Facebook page. And if you go to the CDL Facebook page, you'll see the recorded Zooms that we've done here every week. And you can also go to my YouTube page and it's there as well. So you go to either one and see the replays of all of these trainings.